Welcome back, friends. Everything Apple Pro here. It has been a minute. I hope you're all doing well. For everyone asking regarding my absence, I just decided to go all in on what I personally enjoy doing most, and that's engineering. Life is short, so follow your dreams, right? Today we've got a lot of news on the iPhone 14 lineup, in particular the 14 Pro and the 14 and 14 Max, as well as the SE3. Now, we've still been working on improving our craft regarding rendering. We just switched over to GPU rendering, which is a whole nother monster, but I hope you enjoy our continually improving renders. We've been hard at work on the Flex series, which is now out. Our original naked case is now real for the boxier designs. Hopefully we'll still improve it going forward. Gen 3 is also coming, and that one is our masterpiece. We put a lot of time, a lot of detail where just others wouldn't bother. I'm really excited to see what you guys think about that one. Those will ship out in small batches by the end of this month. Let's get into the iPhone 14 stuff. Let's start with Jon Prosser's leak for the 14 Pro Max. And this is a complete redesign. He dropped this immediately after the 13 Pro came out. At first, I was very skeptical. It's a complete redesign. It goes back to the iPhone 4 and 4S styling, where it's just two slabs of glass layered on top of the metal chassis, just like the old brick 4s. And Mark Gurman himself did confirm that the iPhone 14 would feature a complete redesign. But looking at the intricate details, a little skeptical there of some of the things. Jon Prosser did get the AirTags right, amongst other leaks, so he is credible. As many as he did get wrong, personally I got a lot wrong too. Backtracking to what the overall iPhone 14 lineup will look like, we've got the iPhone 14, 14 Max, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. So Apple is killing off the 5.4-inch mini series. Those of you with a 13, 12 mini, hold them dearly, as Apple is officially killing it, making the SE its smallest phone. Now, Quo, amongst other sources, do confirm that the 14 and 14 Max will retain the same notch on the front. More recently, analyst Jeff Poo confirms that the 14 and 14 Max will have a standard 120 Hz display, no longer a Pro exclusive option. Now, there have been no rumors regarding a 14 and 14 Max redesign, so what you're seeing is something we've conjured up, basically fulfilling Johnny Ive's long-standing dream of having a flat slab of glass as a phone, the future, before it gets implanted into your head or whatever crazy things are in store for us. Now, the biggest 14 news recently is news of the new hole punch. So it started as a circle when Ming-Chi Kuo was the first to report it long ago. More recently developed into a pill shape, and then we realized that someone leaked the actual display for the 14 lineup. Looks like a 14 Pro model based on the ratio by Twitter leaker Shrimp Apple Pro. This is before the 13 was even announced, and in those details he confirms that the iPhone 14 screen, which is being tested, will have a double hole punch, so a hole and a pill shape, and that's the most recent news, which has been corroborated by Ross Young, a display analyst that's gotten many details right over the last few years. The hole punch itself isn't unique. Samsung, Huawei, but Apple would feature a dual hole punch, and like the notch, something controversial, it would set the design apart. Several analysts agree Apple was trying to place the Face ID components under the display, leaving just the selfie camera, and something I'll quote Max Weinbach on is they actually tried using periscopes, such as the periscope zoom feature for Huawei, Samsung phones, others, using those in Face ID up to 3 to focus a bunch of data into one hole, and it just was so complex they decided to not go that route, and it seems like the most logical thing is just to put a separate hole for what's apparently going to be the dot projector. The infrared camera is going to be part of the pill shape, as well as the selfie camera, which will be on the very left. And according to a Barclays analyst, in order for Apple to make this smaller Face ID system work, they're moving to a laser time-of-flight-based detection system compared to the dot projector before. So definitely more complex, but in a smaller form factor. And Ming-Chi Kuo, a prolific Apple leaker, he has to be from the future. He's been so accurate over the years. Earlier he said that iPhones with under-the-screen Touch ID are coming in 2023, so next year, and at least one model will have no holes, no visible sensors on the screen at all. The camera, Face ID system will all be beneath the display. Something that Apple has run into issues with. They're definitely working on it. Anyways, back to Jon Prosser's leak, the flat iPhone 14 leak. Now, he claims that in order to make the lens work, a completely flush lens, which we didn't exactly portray this way in the renders because it just it seems too impossible right now without periscope technology. He's saying that it's accomplished with a thicker frame on the iPhone. Apple has been consistently making their iPhones thicker now for what, 3 years or so. Apparently this year will be no exception. Now what would make this flat lens design possible is periscope zoom. So a system we know that Apple has been working on. Ming-Chi Kuo has reported on it several times. Now more recently, Jeff Pu claims that this will be a feature on the iPhone 15 Pro. Basically an angled lens system, nothing new. Apple of course fashionably late. It'll be good though, as always. Up to 10 times zoom, Jeff Pu claims. And Ming-Chi Kuo himself has revised his estimate from this year to 2023. So the 15 Pro will have this advanced zoom system. Regarding the 14 Pro camera, Kuo claims that Apple is going to 48 megapixels. This is to be achieved with pixel binning, where it basically takes multiple smaller pixels, combines them into a larger one. Your final image will still be in 12 megapixel format. It's just it can do it better, sharper, and better low light with those smaller pixels. And 8K recording. Kuo says 8K is an absolute must with the abundance of 8K TVs out there now and the Apple AR and mixed reality experience. A couple other tidbits about Prosser's 14 design leak. The camera lens circles have a new alignment. They're all jammed into the corner, which it just doesn't seem very realistic. Apple has all this space on the current models, and for them to just cram everything into the corner when we were building it, that didn't make sense. The 5G millimeter wave antenna now sits lower. The volume and power buttons have moved placements. It just seems like it's harder to use. Prosser confirms the Lightning port stays. No USB-C, no portless iPhone either. And a portless iPhone is just unlikely this year, next year, just in general for the next few years due to limitations in wireless charging, transfer technology. But the Apple Watch Series 7 does indicate that Apple is working on this tech, and it is inevitable. There's a new 60.5 gigahertz spectrum standard that Apple is using for diagnostics. They removed the old diagnostic port on the Apple Watch, and this is likely what Apple would use for future portless iPhones. John Prosser also confirms, alongside JP Morgan Chase analysts, that Apple will be using titanium on this year's iPhone. Finally, I love titanium. Titanium, absolutely everything. Knives, rings, watches, anywhere you can get it. This will be an awesome material for scratch resistance. Fingerprints are a problem, but Apple is working on a custom coating for that. Less damage when your iPhone drops, less need for a case, more need for an open case, I guess. Regarding specs, analyst Jeff Pu most recently claimed the iPhone 14 lineup will all feature 6 gigabytes of RAM. Previously, he reported 8 gigabytes for the Pro models, but due to supply constraints, Apple was not able to make that happen, so 6 gigabytes it is. Regarding storage, Jeff Pu claims that Apple will start at 64 gigabytes for the base 14 and 14 Max models and 256 gigabytes for the 14 Pro and Pro Max models, which just seems highly unlikely in a world where chip shortages are running rampant. Another storage leak from Chinese website MyDrivers claims 2 terabytes will be the max storage option on the Pro models, also seemingly unlikely. Regarding the A16 chip, according to Digitimes, they're claiming TSMC, Apple's supplier for chips, will be using a 4 nanometer process, which fits more transistors into the same chip size, more efficient, more powerful, although a clarification on that report states that it could be a triple refined 5 nanometer version, which the A14, A15 uses. And further on, Digitimes reports that 3 nanometers is reaching full-scale production end of this year, and we'll be seeing it in the Apple A17 next year. And then eventually 2.5 nanometers, I've heard, 2 nanometers, and beyond that, who knows. The 5G modem in the 14 lineup is confirmed to be the Qualcomm X65, which is the world's first 10 gigabit modem with a new band for 5G millimeter wave. Beyond that, in 2023, Apple will be making their debut of the in-house 5G modem, which is supposed to be more efficient, all the usual Apple improvements. It didn't happen with the 13 lineup, but now Ming-Chi Kuo confirms the 14 lineup will support Wi-Fi 6E. It's a connectivity standard they'll need for the mixed reality headset. Vapor cooling technology never made its way to the 13, but apparently it is still happening for the 14 lineup. Apple's been very diligently working on it, trying to get the phone to cool off better. Technology, I think it's dearly missing. I can only use my phone, like 5-10 minutes in the sauna. And yeah, I know, what a problem to have. Regarding the SIM card slot, so there was an earlier rumor that said that the 15 Pro would not have a SIM card slot. It would be dual eSIM. More recently, an anonymous tip to Mac Rumors claimed that that would be happening this year. And now a Twitter leaker, Dylan, claims that there will be no SIM card on at least one model this year, something that many people just don't need unless you're traveling abroad, which then it would be a nice feature. Remember, Apple is trying to save every millimeter, every micron of space inside the iPhone. Ultimately, what I think Apple is doing here with the no SIM card thing, no port, they're trying to make the iPhone more waterproof, obviously free up space for components, but they've been diligently working on various patents for waterproofing the iPhone to greater depths, and removing any ingress point, any crevice where water can creep in is definitely a must for those features. And some new iPhone SE stuff. Mark Gurman, Ming-Chi Kuo both confirm we will be seeing a new SE this year with a 5G antenna, just a new chip, likely the A15, that's what I'm banking on. Maybe the A14. Personally, I hope they add MagSafe to it. Either way, we'll be re-releasing our original open case for the SE with MagSafe support. Kuo also says there will be a 2023 iPhone SE. I'm not sure whether to call it the SE3 Plus, SE4, but this one will be bigger. He confirms it'll have 4 gigabytes of RAM, and an earlier report from My Drivers said that it would be based on the iPhone XR, so a 6.1-inch display with built-in Touch ID with no visible camera. So an interesting take on an old design. And this larger SE will be the last iPhone to ever feature an LCD display. Looking further at foldables, Ming-Chi Kuo moves his estimated date for the iPhone Fold to 2024 from 23. And Ross Young agrees that a foldable is likely in 2024, less likely in 23. All right, that's a lot of leaks. Thanks for sitting with an old friend, and see you guys on the next one, hopefully sooner. Remember, we do have our new cases out at phonerebel.com, link down below, with Gen 3 dropping end of this month, early February. Peace, guys.